Hey, what's up? This is your girl Nicole Reloaded, and we loaded up with another video. Hey, 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 hey. I was testing out this glitch. It's a 5-minute countdown, a 5-minute wave countdown. Just trying to get my StreamYards together. I ain't doing nothing. I just wanted to see if anybody would come on and if they liked it. Don't really have too much to talk, just over here, fumbling around with this StreamYards, trying to get my situation sexy, make it look good. I like my stuff to look nice and presentable for the peoples. So, whoever that is in the bushes, may God bless you. Well, I guess we can watch Donald Trump. Let's see what's going on. Ain't got nothing else to do. Any sound, any sound, any sound, any sound. Let's see. Ain't no sound. When did they start?
Of course, this is obviously, as you're saying, the fact that, but we will news that we have just this hour, and thank you for joining us for this live stream. We're talking about the breaking news that we have just been hearing overnight, that President Trump and the First Lady have both become infected with the coronavirus. This is obviously terrible news for the country. Having the president in a potentially very dangerous state infected with this virus is something that nobody wants to see. I'm joined by our beloved White House correspondent, Yamiche Alcindor, who has been covering all of this. We'd like to hear your questions. We'll try to answer as many of those as we possibly can in the course of this, but we will try to get through initially the things that we know, the things that we don't know, and the things that we are watching as we go forward. So as I mentioned, Yamiche, we got this news late last night that the president and the first lady had both tested positive for the virus. What else do we know? How is he feeling? Where are they? What's happening?
Well, this is really a stunning day, and it was a stunning night for the president of the United States to test positive for the coronavirus. It's a virus that he's downplayed. It's a virus that he said that he's protected America from, and it's a virus that now is impacting not only him, but the First Lady, as well as the entire White House, because now there are a lot of people who are very scared about how many people might have this. As we might remember, Hope Hicks, a close aide to the president, was the first person to test positive last night, but there were cases in the White House even before this. And White House officials at this point are saying that the president has mild symptoms. There's some reporting out there that he appeared lethargic and has appeared lethargic at different events that we at the NewsHour are trying to confirm, but we know that he is not asymptomatic, which is a big deal in this fact. So this means that the president is experiencing some symptoms from this virus. We're told that Hope Hicks, the close aide again, that she was someone who was feeling sick enough that when she was flying back from the president's rally in Minnesota this week, she was quarantined in the back of Air Force One. But it sounds as though the president possibly isn't feeling as bad as possibly Hope Hicks was feeling, but he is, like I said, experiencing symptoms. There are so many unanswered questions in this, including how did the president get infected? How many other people are going to test positive? The vice president's wife has also tested negative, but there are just so many people who work in the White House and so many people who work closely with the president that this is scaring a lot of people, frankly.
We should reiterate the fact, and I know this is on a lot of people's minds, that the president of the United States is still the president. Donald Trump is still president. He has not stepped away from his office. He's, my understanding, Yamiche, is that he is basically isolating in the White House residence, but will continue, I guess, at a distance, continuing the work of the president, taking meetings, phone calls. Is that right? Is that your understanding, that that business is normal?
That's my understanding. White House officials say that the president is working from the White House residence, and that he is, quote, it's business as usual, is the way one White House source put it. Of course, it is not business as usual in terms of the fact that he has had to quarantine in the residence. Another thing to note is that the president is supposed to be holding a call today with to talk about seniors and supporting them in the coronavirus. He had been scheduled to go to Florida, and the president has had to clear his entire schedule except for that one event that we know of at this time. Another thing to note is that the White House doctor, when he put out the news that he confirmed that the president had this virus, he said that he did not expect any disruptions. But that, again, is something that we have to really take with a grain of salt, because there are already disruptions. There are already the idea that the president is not going to be able to go on the campaign trail in the way that he had planned to do so. The president had been campaigning vigorously with these big rallies, sometimes where people were not wearing masks, were not social distancing outdoors, sometimes indoors. So the president's day, while it is continuing, and he is, of course, continuing to have the role of the presidency, he hasn't stepped back from any activities of the presidency, his day has changed. Things are not the same. Things are not business as usual.
Of course, this is obviously, as you're saying, going to have a big impact on the campaign. A lot of questions about what happens with the next round of debates. I think it's important that we remind our audience that when someone is infected with the coronavirus, this is true in the United States and globally, that we roughly 90% of people do get better. And that's an important thing to keep in mind for people as they're listening to this and worried about what this means for our country and both for the First Lady and the President himself. But we do know that there are also risk factors that put people at greater risk of having worse complications. Yamiche, you had mentioned that he is having symptoms, but we know the president is 74 years old. The president is not a slim man. We know that being overweight, I'm not sure if the technical term that he is technically obese, I believe so. I've heard conflicting evidence about that. That puts you at higher risk for this. And so we just have to be watching at this point. Right now, the indication of mild symptoms could be that's the extent of it. I know personally many people who've been infected with the virus and all they ever had was mild symptoms. Of course, if those mild symptoms progressed into something more serious, that would be cause for concern and cause for alarm. But again, I think it's important to remind people that for right now, mild symptoms means he's still the president. There's no reason to change that. One other thing I would like to touch on too is this question of what kind of treatment the president might be getting. And for now, all the best evidence is that if you are just experiencing mild symptoms, there really are no treatments that are going to help you. They'll monitor him, they'll check for temperature, they'll maintain a look at what's called his pulse oxygen. That's sometimes a little thing you see clipped on someone's finger with the glowing light. That just measures how much oxygen is circulating through your blood, because that is often a sign that the virus is spreading in your lungs and it's harming their ability to help you breathe, basically. But right now, that's all that the president should be getting. Have we heard anything, Yamiche, more from the White House doctor about any potential course of action beyond the stuff I'm talking about?
As of now, we haven't. The letter yesterday made clear that the White House doctor will be continuing to monitor President Trump and the First Lady. But as you pointed out, he is 74. He is a senior. He is someone who evidence shows is overweight. And as a result, he is in that population of people that we've been talking about for months that are at higher risk for complications and more serious impacts from the virus. There's no evidence that he is seeing or experiencing any conflicts or any particular serious symptoms as of right now. But I want to reiterate that we're talking about a senior citizen and someone who falls in the group that Dr. Fauci and so many other health officials have said have to be extra vigilant when it comes to this virus. Another thing to note is that he is an American who is one of the most protected, if not the most protected American in the country. And as a result, it really underscores that anyone can get this virus. That the president of the United States, who people around him are tested daily, who is constantly surrounded by people, medical officials to take care of him. If he can get this virus and then have to deal with the symptoms and have to quarantine, it just underscores how much this is really getting into American society. So I think the president, of course, has been making the case that this is a virus that has been downplaying at times, has been talking about the virus in a way saying that it's going to be in the rearview mirror. Just this week, he was making fun of Joe Biden for wearing a mask, but it underscores what the health officials have told us, which is that it's very important to wear masks. It's very important to social distance. And now we're seeing an outbreak literally in the headquarters of the United States. It's remarkable, William.
It is. And I think I've seen some people, some highly respected public health officials who I know personally, and I've been talking with quite a bit, who argue that this is a real failure on the part of the White House and the people around him to protect the president, because this is not just a man at a motorcycle rally in South Dakota who might be concerned about how he interacts. His health impacts all of us, and it impacts the reason we're talking about this, the reason this has impacts on the election and the courts and all of the functionings of our government is that we need the man we elect to be president to remain healthy. For everyone who is following along, we're going to try to get to some of your questions. Put them in the comments. tweet them at us, hashtag #AskNewsHour. We will try to get to those as quickly as we can. The first question I'm going to go to here, this is from Bryant Mitchell on YouTube. What's the plan for future debates now? Yamiche, do you have any knowledge about that? We have a vice presidential debate coming up and then another presidential debate after that. Has there been any notification about what this does vis-a-vis those?
Well, I should tell you, and I apologize to the audience now, I'm constantly looking at my phone because that's one of the big questions. How is this going to impact the campaign, but also and specifically, how is this going to impact the debates? The vice president has tested negative, but as you know, and as people who have been studying this virus know, testing negative one day doesn't mean that the virus might not still be circulating in your system, and it might come up in a test in other days. So I think it's going to be a big question of whether or not Vice President Pence is going to travel to go to a debate, and whether or not Senator Harris, the vice presidential candidate on the Democratic side, whether she's going to be wanting to stand at a podium in the same room as Vice President Pence for 90 minutes. I should tell you, I've been talking to sources at the Biden campaign who say they got no heads up that the president had tested positive for the coronavirus. They learned about all of this, all of the exposure, all of the possible exposure that their campaign might have had through media reports. So there is a lot of real anxiety in the Biden campaign about what exposure they might have in dealing with negotiations for the debate, in dealing with senior staff talking. We saw during the debate that President Trump and Joe Biden were on opposite sides of the stage and were not near each other. But now Joe Biden is being tested and we're awaiting those results. William, if you see the results while we're sitting here, let me know. But I have not seen the results of that test. So now we're waiting with anxiety for that. So it really throws into question the vice presidential debate. And then, of course, the president. How is he going to travel to a debate and to multiple debates when he's supposed to be quarantining for some 14 days at least, if he's not sick and experiencing mild symptoms longer than that? So I think it really questions whether or not the president is going to be able to debate while having the coronavirus. Also, is he going to be able to debate in person, or are we going to turn to Zoom debates? We all saw the raucous debate. I can't imagine how you have a conversation like the one that Joe Biden and President Trump had over a virtual platform, but that might be what needs to happen.
Right. I know that there was a lot of talk after that debate, and Chris Wallace and a lot of people suggesting that there should be a way to mute someone's microphone. Any of us who have been living our professional lives on Zoom know that muting people's mics and unmuting their mics is a complicated process and would certainly make for a very peculiar 2020 style debate. Let's go back to some more questions here. Snow P. Harper on Instagram is asking, are people he's been in close contact?
I would like to know, how would it be hard or difficult to mute someone's microphone? It's not hard to do that. You just mute. You give them a set time. When the timer's up, say time is up. Mute. Now, if they start yelling and screaming over the microphone, then that will show that they don't have any form of self-control. I mean, these are people that have been in the business for years. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Vice Pence, Kamala Harris. They know how to handle these things. Now, I heard that Donald Trump is down at the hospital raising Cain, talking about messing with people's voter registration. T-Love, if you still out there, baby, nobody took your wrench, mama. I'm on my main channel, Nicole Reloaded, and I'm on Nicole Reloaded. The one in the blue is my channel that has 1,100. The one where you see my face is the one that has 4,000. I just forgot to give you your wrench on the second channel, baby. So please don't be upset about that. That was my mistake. That's the reason why I'm going live on both of my channels, because I'm trying to build both of them at the same time. So since StreamYards allows you to do so, then that's what I'm doing. So I truly apologize about that, baby. I forgot. I even forgot that Shaquilla had a wrench over there. She was over there on the channel the other day. She was over there tearing it up, talking to us, but by herself. And I said, girl, did you realize She said, girl, I knew I was over here in the room by myself. She was handling her business. I said, go, Shaquilla Dixon, go, girl. We trying to come up out of this hole, honey, and spread some wisdom and knowledge to the people. Okay? Let no devil in hell come in and steal your joy. There's been a lot of issues in regards to communication, you know? And that's what the devil wants. He doesn't want us to be able to communicate with each other effectively. So Satan can bring in contention and strife. Make sure that you communicate with your friends, family, and loved ones. I heard that it's gonna last until like the end of the year. It's like the universe, everything is changing. You know, everything around us is changing as we know it. But we can make things for the better. Hippy Dippy, shout out to Hippy Dippy in the building. I ain't seen you in a while. It's a pleasure to have you over here, Hippy Dippy. Hippy Dippy always smiling. Hippy Dippy gonna come over here and make me smile. That's what I need. Let's get back to see what's going on with Donald Trump, shall we? And did you guys see the 5-minute? Did you guys see the 5-minute countdown clock? I wanted to know if you guys thought it was too much. Should I edit it down? Is it, I would like to know y'all opinion on that glitch wave 5-minute countdown. It would be truly appreciative.
Contact with, I'm assuming that's the president, like Amy Coney Barrett, getting tested. What do we know about who else in the orbit of the president and of Hope Hicks are getting tested now?
There are a number of White House officials who are getting tested. The White House says they're doing contact tracing. The big headline when it comes to the Supreme Court is that Judge Amy Coney Barrett has tested negative for the virus. That doesn't mean, again, as we've said it and we need to reiterate, it doesn't mean that she can't test positive later on. But right now, the White House is saying the last time she was with the president was on Saturday and that she is now testing negative. I should tell you, I was at that White House event when the president announced Amy Coney Barrett as his nominee for the Supreme Court. There was very little mask wearing, very little social distancing. One of the only people, or one of the few people, I should say, that was wearing a mask was Secretary of Health and Human Services, Alex Azar. He had a mask on, but there were a number of cabinet officials, some of them in senior citizen age, who were not wearing masks. And that goes in line with what White House events have been like over the last few weeks and months. There has been a lot of large crowds, a lot of people who are not social distancing, a lot of people who are not wearing masks. That has been the protocol. The president has mocked Joe Biden and others for wearing masks. The mask, of course, the issue has been a political one where the White House doesn't want to be seen as being too overly cautious. They say they don't want to cause panic. Health officials say that they're mirroring bad behavior. Whichever side you fall on that, what we know is that health officials are saying they should have been wearing masks. But right now, it seems as though the judge is okay. Another thing I want to quickly note, she was in meetings over the last few days and weeks.
This is Judge Barrett.
Yes, Judge Barrett was in meetings with lawmakers on Capitol Hill. So there's also a lot of question of whether or not this virus might be circulating on Capitol Hill now. We heard that Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker, she's going to be getting tested. But there are a lot of GOP lawmakers who met with Judge Barrett who also now will likely be getting tested because they might be worried that they somehow got the virus either from some White House aides who were around the president and then around Judge Barrett and GOP officials.
I think to your point, Yamiche, that you're mentioning that on the one hand, the president and his family and members of the campaign have been, I think it's accurate to say, unwilling to wear masks as often as public health officials argue. At the same time, the White House Coronavirus Task Force guidelines could not be more crystal clear on this issue, that wear a mask, keep your social distance, don't congregate with people in crowded, closed spaces where the ventilation is lousy and where the virus, like a cloud of smoke, can build up and potentially infect people. And this contrast that we have been seeing throughout this pandemic, where the public health officials who meet with the president and the vice president and talk with them on a regular basis are arguing one thing, and then the president and his family and his campaign and many of his surrogates model oftentimes the exact opposite behavior is many people I've heard of just referring to this as it's irresponsible. And on some level, this is the kind of thing that we would have hoped could have been different, because the president, this is a preventable virus. We know how to stop the transmission of the virus from one of us to another one of us. And it's sad to say that process broke down in this case. We want to get back to some more of your questions here. I should say we've been getting a lot of questions of people questioning how true all of this is. Is the president really telling us the truth about this? Do we know he is in fact positive? Is this a distraction? I don't want to truck in too many conspiracy theories, but Jeffrey Says on Instagram asks what a lot of people have been asking, which is, what about the possibility of Trump in the White House lying about the positive test? Yamiche, there's no evidence of that, correct?
There is no evidence that that is the case, that they are making this up and lying about the president's COVID-19 positive test. But we have to acknowledge that the president has, at best, a complicated relationship with the truth. At worst, the president is seen as someone who lies and is spreading misinformation almost every day, almost in every single interaction with the media or any single public speech that he gives. So the president is someone who does not have a lot of credibility with a large swath of Americans who think that he has lied several times about the virus, has lied several times about all sorts of other things. So it goes to show that the consequence to that is that there are people who are questioning whether or not the president could be lying about this virus. So we have the White House doctor saying that the president tested positive. We have President Trump saying he tested positive. White House aides saying he tested positive. That's what we're going on. That's the evidence that we have right now. The White House doctor has at times gotten backlash for claiming that the president was one of the most healthiest people in the country, and not really being that transparent about the president's actual well-being. There are some people who are critics of the president who say we don't really know how healthy the president is, but the president pushed back on that, and he says he is very healthy. He says he's up for it. He does often have hour to hour and a half long speeches on the campaign trail. He says that shows his stamina, shows that he's up for the job. He does also work very long hours. There are times where the president's tweeting at 6 a.m. and then tweeting again at midnight. But so that's the evidence that we're going off of. The president saying that he should be believed when it comes to this virus and being positive. And there are, of course, people who just simply don't think that he tells the truth on a number of other issues and might not be telling the truth this time around.
This is one of the saddest parts of this whole pandemic, is the absolute tidal wave of misinformation that is flowing through social media and on different broadcast networks that is only complicated what is already a hard thing. I mean, I don't think there's anyone that would say, oh, a pandemic of this kind would have been easy for any government to respond to. We have seen more effective public health responses in other nations in the world that have really kept the caseloads down, the death rates down. But even those countries that did what are, a grade A job dealing with this virus have struggled with all of this. I should say the First Lady, Melania Trump, has tweeted while we've been talking, Yamiche. She says, quote, "Thank you for the love you are sending our way. I have mild symptoms, but overall feeling good. I'm looking forward to a speedy recovery." That's from the First Lady, Melania Trump. We hope that is in fact the case. Back to the viewers' questions. Mercedes on Instagram is asking, who will stop him, the president, if he tries to hold an event? I guess this is the ongoing question of, I don't know legally who really has the ability to say to the president of the United States, if he says, I want to go to an event in Wisconsin, I want to hold a rally, there is no measure or mechanism, is there, for someone to stop the president from doing what the president wants to do? I mean, absent breaking the law, right?
Well, that I think is another big question and another big unknown. If the president decides, even though I have the coronavirus, I want to go out and campaign, I don't want to be slowed down. We're something like 34 or 33 days away from the election day. The president understands this is a critical time in the campaign, and he's made being on the campaign trail, not social distancing, not wearing a mask, a central part of his thesis, which is that the coronavirus is going away. Of course, again, there is no evidence of that, but the president has made that a central part of his argument for why he should be reelected. He says, I handled this virus so well that we are doing better than other countries. Again, that's not true for sure. But it's going to be hard to understand if the president says he wants to go somewhere. Who would tell him that he can't do that? He is the president of the United States. He's the commander in chief. He doesn't report to anyone other than the American people when we elect him. But other than that, it would be really hard to figure out and to see a scenario where the president is stopped by someone from traveling if he is dead set on doing that.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be interesting to see how this changes the president's behavior going forward. The guidelines are that if you test
But
positive
why would the
for
president of the
virus,
United wait? Let me
you are
read this.
supposed to.
Why would the president of the United States do something? I hope to God that the president of the United States would not quarantine himself and go to a rally knowing that he has the coronavirus that can possibly infect multiple different people. I mean, do you think hippy dippy that Donald Trump would do something like that? I mean, Donald Trump did, knowing that Hope Hicks had the coronavirus and tested positive, and that he had been exposed to it, and everybody was supposed to automatically quarantine, and he did not. Therefore, later on that day, that evening, he found out that he had coronavirus. Anybody that's going to be watching on the replay, please drop down in the comments. Your comments are so important. I love to know what's on your mind. Teach me. I am here to learn, honey. I want many wrinkles in my brain, just not all over my body. Okay. I'm just saying. Hippy Dippy say, I will always try to be here no matter what. I'm too nice of a person, LOL. Hippy Dippy, have you not been receiving my notifications? Because I haven't seen you in a while. I know a lot of people have been claiming that they have not been receiving any notifications. If that is the case, please unsubscribe and resubscribe and hit the notification bell on all three of my channels if you would like, but at least the main two. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to name the other channel, because it's up for monetization, but I have to, provide it with some really good commentary so YouTube can give me monetization on that channel as well. So, do we think that our president, Donald Trump of the United States of America, will break his quarantine to go to a rally? I hope Donald Trump wouldn't do nothing like that, but he technically already did, didn't he? Ooh, child.
To stay away from others for 14 days. If you don't have any symptoms, I believe the guidance is that you stay isolated, and that means really no interaction physically with anyone else for at least 10 days. Again, just as you say, we know that this is the president's lifeblood on a campaign, is to be out there, to be in front of crowds, and to try to stir up his passion amongst his supporters to keep them turning out and getting interest. So it'd be very interesting to see how this goes forward. We've also been getting a good deal of questions about worst case scenarios as to what might happen if the president were to become incapacitated, if the president, God forbid, were to pass away. And I am not an elections law expert, and I would recommend that everyone take a look at Rick Hasson. He's a constitutional law professor and an elections law scholar in California. He runs the Election Law blog. He posted a very interesting excerpts from a back and forth that occurred by two NYU professors recently, Rick Pildes, who's a constitutional law professor, and Joshua Tucker. And they were posing these questions about what happens if the party's nominee dies or withdraws after having been officially nominated, but before the November election. Obviously, the concern
This
is
is a
that
great
the ballots
question.
have already gone out.
Great
I received
question.
my ballots here in Washington, D.C. They clearly state Donald Trump and Mike Pence and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as the choices. If I fill those out and send them in, what
Right.
happens if I've cast a vote for someone who is now either not able to become president or can't assume the office because of incapacitation? There are all sorts of complicated rules about this. I'm going to read a tiny bit here from Rick Pildes, who's the constitutional law scholar. Here's the question he was asked, and I'm going to just give a quick bit of information with this. What happens if the party's nominee dies or withdraws after having been officially nominated, but before the November election? Pildes says that, in essence, that this puts the ball in the hands of the Democratic National Committee and the Republican National Committee. And the DNC has apparently very clear rules about this, that the 447 members of the DNC, they would then, and along with their chair, Tom Perez, have to choose who their new nominee is. Now, my understanding would be, why wouldn't they simply choose the vice presidential nominee, Senator Kamala Harris? I don't know. And in the conversation that we'll try to post a link to on our website, which is really interesting and it gets into the nuances of this, it would seem to make sense that both Mike Pence and Kamala Harris would automatically elevate into the first position in those cases, but it's not necessarily true. I don't know that. So lots of questions about that. I wish we had more answers on that. Well, something we'll continue to cover as we follow this case. Yamiche, I wonder if we could go back to
I thought he
something,
was going
because
to give
you
a
have
full
an
definition
experience
of the
that so
answer. We're going
few
to have
of
to
us
find
in the
out.
country have. And it gets to this very nature of,
Well, let me
how
pause
do we
it
get
and
to the fact
clear up what he
that the
stated.
president of the United States became infected?
Okay, basically the question was, if the president of the United States was to pass away before the votes were in, that it will fall in, Mike Pence would not automatically become, the nominee. Kamala Harris would not automatically become the nominee. There would have to be a real vote for a new nominee, and it's a big it's some huge complications behind that. So shout out to my sister Mona Simone. She asked that question yesterday. I thought it would just be as simple. I thought they would just go along with Joe Biden, but well, not Joe Biden, either Kamala Lee. I keep calling that lady Kamala Lee Harris. Kamala Harris. You would think, because people have already voted, and they voted for the person that has passed, and they chose you too because you're vice president. So wouldn't the smart thing to do to get things to run smooth is just, because wouldn't you have to like revote, or would they be able to just pick whoever they want? That can cause a lot of confusion. I hope Donald Trump, oh Lord Jesus, that's some heavy thinking right there. That's some heavy shellackle.
You go to the White House all the time. You go into the press briefing rooms. I know you've been elsewhere within the White House itself. Can you just give us a sense of, what is the sense of precaution there? Do they treat it as seriously as we would hope?
Well, it depends on how seriously people hope that they take it. So I think I'm someone who, when I'm going into the White House, thinking about PBS NewsHour and my colleagues and my family, I don't want to put anyone that I'm close to at risk. So I make sure to wear a mask. I make sure to be wiping down surfaces. I make sure to have hand sanitizer and disinfectant wipes and wipe everything that I touch down. The White House, that you see a lot of officials who are not wearing masks. When we go into the briefings, I wipe down every seat in the White House Correspondents Association. All of the correspondents, we all wear masks during the briefing. The vice president, the White House press secretary, rather, she has not been wearing masks during her briefings. She says that it's because she's farther enough away from reporters that she doesn't have to wear a mask. But also, when you walk back, there's a small press area behind the briefing. So the most famous room in the briefing and in the White House is that big briefing room. That is actually not that big, but that briefing room where you see reporters posing questions to the White House press secretary or the president. But behind that, there is a press area, and where about maybe, I would say, 6 to 7 people sit. And then you can actually go up a little bit to an incline where there's another group of people sitting in the press area. I've not seen people in those areas wearing masks. There are people who would think that they should be wearing masks. They're indoors, they're in close quarters with each other. But the White House says that a lot of those people are getting tested very regularly, and as a result, they feel comfortable
Yeah,
with
but
those people
testing
not wearing
doesn't
masks. I
protect
should
you.
say there are a lot of people who are also working from home a lot of times from the White House because this.
But it just proved that you can get tested in the morning and get a negative, and you can get a false negative too as well, and then later on that evening you can test positive. So just getting a test is still not enough. Put a mask on your mother freaking face. Protect yourself and protect the people around you. It is very selfish of an individual. If you're at home, that's a complete different thing. I understand that, but how many people unfortunately have been affected by COVID? Not everybody survives COVID. Everybody's body can't handle the wrath of this demonic pandemic that is taking out people's lives. Young, middle-aged, elderly, and old. There are survivors, but there are many that are dead. And I wonder, did they wear masks? Or did someone in their family did not wear a mask and came and I love my father to pieces, but I ain't hugging him. What if that shit on the bottom of my shoe or something and I go to hug him or something? No, I love my daddy too much not to hug him. People need to use their brains. God gave you a brain. Use your brain. Protect yourself. Wash your hands in your arse. Don't be rubbing all up in your face and touching stuff, kissing people all in the mouth, going to parties and hanging out like it can't happen to you. If the president can get it, anybody can get it. Hello?
Pandemic has been upending people's work lives. There are some people who are not coming into the White House, so it's not as crowded as it sometimes is in normal times. That being said, the thing that needs to be understood here is that there have been a number of White House events where people have been standing shoulder to shoulder without masks. The Republican National Convention was one of those instances. People were not tested going into that event. There were thousands of people, or at least 1,500 people on the White House lawn. It was transformed into a sort of campaign rally. That's just one example of the White House having events and not having people social distance. I was there on Saturday when they rolled out Amy Coney Barrett as their nominee for the Supreme Court. Again, we were standing as reporters in a pen, not as socially distanced as we probably could have been, but we were all wearing masks. The people in front of me, which is cabinet members, all sorts of people who were standing between me and the president and the nominee, they were not wearing masks and they were sitting shoulder to shoulder. So there were some people who were wearing masks, but very few people in this White House have been wearing masks. So that health officials and critics of this White House say put them at a risk that they don't need to be at. That this is the behavior that they're doing. That this isn't the behavior that you should be doing in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, I can't reiterate this point that you're making enough, Yamiche, that we know with asymptomatic transmission, you could be sitting next to someone in a closed room. They seem perfectly healthy. They say, oh, I got tested a week or so ago, or I got tested on Wednesday. That person could absolutely still be infected. And we know people are most contagious oftentimes before they even show symptoms. And so the idea that people are gathering close together in crowded spaces with not a lot of ventilation and with no masks really goes against everything.
You know, my daughter is the only child that I have seen in my neighborhood that rides around on her little scooter with her little friends that wears a mask. My baby girl, and I'm so proud of her. She grabs her. It's starting to become habit to her now. She's just putting it on. Things have changed. Nothing can ever stay the same. And if they do, there's only one person to blame, and that's you. I would be devastated, God forbid, like for real. Like, you know, even when my daughter comes in outside from playing, don't touch me. You know, I wipe off the handles and disinfect stuff, you know, right after her. Go right in there and wash your hands for 20 seconds. Hit that antibacterial soap. you know, rub it all up and down, you know, your arms and scrub real good, and go in there and take a hot bath and put some antibacterial soap in there with that oil of Olay. Then you can come down and lay on me, okay? I make her take zinc, airborne, and melatonin, and a lot of prayer. And I take it too. I just got a bottle of black seed oil too. Anyway, let's finish listening, y'all. Hippy dippy in the building, y'all.
Single thing that we have learned about how we ought to be operating in this pandemic. And again, it's one thing if people take these risks on themselves and they go into a restaurant in their hometown and they crowd together. It's problematic. You put the staff at risk, you put the people who work there at risk, you put the people in your life at risk. But when we're talking about the cabinet officials and the White House and the president and the vice president of the United States, these I just think that there is a responsibility that has to be stepped up, and this is certainly something we're going to be hearing a great deal more
and
about.
If I could jump in when you're talking about this, thinking about risk, the reporting as of now is that Hope Hicks tested positive Wednesday night. On Thursday, the president was out and traveling. So there are a lot of people who wonder, should the president have been out and traveling? Did he put people at risk by being out and being at different events and being kind of doing business as usual when he knew that a top aide had tested positive? That's another big question. Who infected Hope Hicks? Who infected the president? Who could have been at risk not only at the White House, but in all the different events that the president went to between those timelines that we're seeing now? And when did this timeline start? Hope Hicks might not be patient zero at the White House.
I think that Donald Trump, there was a rally. I do not, and if anybody knows what I'm talking about, Donald Trump, there was a rally that was last week. And I bet you he probably caught that shit when he was what was that rally he went to after Atlanta? I remember there was a rally that he went to after Atlanta, and I remember that there was a reporter. The reporter had on a mask, and they were talking to these just people that were coming up and talking. I don't remember who, but I remember there was a couple that was in the crowd. And they were coughing and hacking and sneezing. And the reporter kind of looked over and they kind of scooted over. Them people were sick. Going, Trump, snotting, child. They need to go back and track every rally from when he went to Atlanta. Atlanta's a hot spot. And they was locked in when they went into Atlanta. A lot of people didn't have masks there neither. Okay? I don't know what point people are trying to prove by not wearing masks. It is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of ignorance. Protect yourself. You might, God forbid, if you get it and survive, but what if you give it to someone that has a pre-existing condition? Please use your brains, people, and go out and vote. And if you're voting by mail, please take a picture of your ballot. If you are having voter fraud that's in your state and you're concerned of voter fraud, please utilize the notaries at your bank where you can get documents notarized for free and take a picture and submit your ballot. Or if you have to have a notary come to your house, you know, please help your people. You have to vote this time, y'all. My African-American brothers, we need you to come out. We need you to vote. Don't they need to vote, baby? Tell them to vote, baby. I was telling them how you wash your hands and take antibacterial baths so you can protect your mommy, huh? You're such a good baby. I love you. You being shy? I want you wearing some pants. Okay, let mommy finish. Okay, you be a good girl. Can I get a bit? Yeah, you can go at 12. At 12. Yeah, ask if Adria can come over and y'all play in the backyard or something. What do you want to eat? You're not hungry right now? Okay.
White House earlier this month, we got very little information, but we were told that someone tested positive at the White House. We don't know who that person is. We don't know what their symptoms were. We don't know who was around them. So we're talking about this now and today because obviously the president just tested positive, but this could have been circulated in the White House for longer than the 2 or 3 or even 4 days that we're talking about. It could be weeks.
Certainly a momentous day, and we certainly hope everything goes well. This is not spreading as widely as many people might have feared. Yamiche, thank you so much for doing this. I know this is an enormously busy day for you. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I'm sorry we couldn't get to all of your viewers' questions down there, but we will keep tracking this news about the president and the first lady and one of his senior advisors have all tested positive for the coronavirus. The latest news we have seen is that the president is isolated in the White House residence. He is still fulfilling all the duties of the presidency. He's being watched by his doctors, and we hope that this does not progress any further than this. But thank you all for joining us. Tune into the NewsHour tonight. We'll certainly have more on this. We'll be talking about all of.
So that was PBS News, what President Trump having COVID could mean for the election in his presidency. People think that this actually can hinder him, but this actually can help him with sympathy votes. You know, there's a lot of people that can't stand the Democrats. I say that the Democrats shouldn't get their foot off of this, keep their foot planted on this darn campaign. Keep your foot planted on the ground. Get your people on the ground. Okay? So a man thinketh, so is he. We got to get out and we got to fight this enemy. Now, let's see what this is. Okay, that was the first. Okay, this is the document that was signed from the physician, attending physician inside the White House. Donald Trump is getting excellent treatment. And I want to hear more talk about this experimental drug that they used on him. Okay? What is this experimental drug? Who else is getting this experimental drug? Oh, here goes some tea. Oh, shoot. Let's listen to this. How long is this? This is only 17 seconds.
It's important to note the president's been fever-free for over 24 hours. We remain cautiously optimistic, but he's doing great. With that, one other note. It should be clear that he's got plenty of work to get done from the chief of staff. It's important to note the president's been fever-free for over 24 hours. We remain cautiously optimistic, but he's doing great. With that, one other note. It should be clear that he's got plenty of work to get done from the chief of staff. It's important to note.
Okay. Well, that's good news. Donald Trump has been fever. Oh, I'm up to date. Oh, okay. So let's go to another thread. Let's see what it is. Hippy dippy going on a ride with me. Hippy dippy going on a ride with me. Okay. Go to trending. Minecraft is trending on Twitter. National Boyfriend Day. Ooh, does that mean am I supposed to give me a boyfriend on National Boyfriend Day, hippy dippy? Ooh, child. Okay, that was last night. I know they got some tea on here because they was tearing Donald Trump up, honey. Let's listen to these audio records again. This is so funny. Melania gonna be like, I don't like a no Christmas tree. I don't know why Obama. Listen to this, hippy dippy. I don't know if you heard this. It's not that long. Listen to it.
I'm the same like him. I support him. I don't say enough. I don't do enough. No, where I am, I'm working like a my ass. I know. Christmas stuff that, who gives a about Christmas stuff and decoration, but I need to do it, right? Yeah, but Correct? 100%. You have no choice. And okay, and then I do it, and I say that.
She said, "Who gives fuck about the Christmas tree?" All the children that are waiting on Santa Claus, the first lady is a.
I'm working on Christmas, planning for the Christmas, and they said, "Oh, what about the children that they were separated? Give me a break." Where they were saying anything when Obama did that? I know. I cannot go. I was trying to get the kid reunited with the mom. I didn't have a chance. Needs to go through the process and through the law. But here's my thing. Hear what you just said. But instead of that, if your messaging, you were so loved. They would not do the story. We put it out. They would not do the story. I'm telling you. You would not believe it. They would not do the story because they would not do the story because they are against us because they're liberal media. Yeah, if I go to Fox, they will do the story. I don't want to go to Fox.
It's so interesting. I mean, one, there's to hearing her being hostile toward, decorating the White House for Christmas, I certainly doesn't jive with, the Fox whole idea. I mean, if we're talking about a war on Christmas, it's funny that she would be leading that. But
Okay, now what we were just listening to was secretly recorded audio tapes aired on CNN captured Melania Trump talking about criticism over the border and separation policy. But she was dog walking Christmas. She said, "Fuck Christmas tree." She's a bitch. Oh, Lord. It says, in the recorded conversation aired on CNN, Anderson Cooper 360, the First Lady is heard expressing apparent frustration over having to work on the White House Christmas tree and receiving criticism from the Trump administration policy on separating children from their families at the U.S. border. Melania Trump, former friend and advisor Stephanie Winston Wolkoff taped the conversation in 2018 after leaving the White House, according to CNN. Now, who needs a friend like this lady here? Okay, because she's surely snitching on the First Lady. You out of line, honey. She clout chasing on you, Melania. I know she like, fuck Christmas tree in my friend. Looking, child. Just foul. See, this is the one, okay, this is what they were talking about right here when she wore that coat. Ooh, we got a little 10-minute one here. Hey,
Trump, she's sharing phone conversations that she recorded with the First Lady, and she quoted in her new book, Melania and Me, The Rise and Fall of My Friendship with the First Lady. So, Stephanie, I want to play another conversation you had with the First Lady. This one is about her trip to the border when the Trump administration was separating kids from their parents and detaining them. Let's listen.
All these kids that I met, they are here in the shelters because they were brought by it through coyotes, the people, or trafficking, and that's why they put them in jail. And the kids that they go in shelters, and the way they take care of them, it's they even said, the kids, they say, "Wow, I will have my own bed. I will sleep on the bed. I will have a cabinet for my clothes." It's so sad to hear it, but they didn't have that in their own countries. Right. They sleep on the floor. They are, they are fed. They are taking care nicely there. But they are not with parents. It's sad. But when they come here alone or with coyotes or illegally, you need to do something. Right. And a lot of like moms and kids, they are taught how to do it. They go over and they say like, "Oh, we will be killed by gang member. We will be it's so dangerous." Mm-hmm. So they allowed to stay here. Do you understand? I do, and they're the ones that are the bad ones. Yeah, and they are not. It's not true that they would. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Some of them they're using that lines that they're not professional, but they are taught by other people what to say to come over. and to, you know, to let them go, to stay here, because, you know, they could easily stay in Mexico, but they don't want to stay in Mexico because Mexico doesn't take care of them the same as America does.
I mean, it's so fascinating to hear. Clearly, you know, people project things onto her about, well, she went down the border and she wore that shirt and it was a message, wore that jacket and it was a message. She thinks that they were happy to be in U.S. custody, and that all the stories about gang violence, which is, you know, huge throughout Central America, is just gaming the system.
Well, you know, the jacket was a means to an end. It was a publicity stunt, and it was to garner the attention of the press, to make sure that everyone was aware that Melania was going to the border. And I think it meant a lot, just like it means a lot to Donald, that, you know, he has something over Barack Obama. Michelle Obama, Melania claimed, never went to the border either. So, you know, there's so many similarities here, and they do things not for the purpose that, you know, good deeds are done for the intent of doing good deeds, not for the attention that you get. From doing good deeds. And unfortunately, this administration and the people around them and this family are only doing things that benefit them instead of all of these children and people that are suffering. I mean, we have a huge humanitarian crisis on our hands. People are dying every day in the hundreds of thousands now. And to watch, again, I'm sorry to go back to that debate, but it was horrifying and really, really embarrassing for our country.
You also had a conversation with the First Lady about her role as First Lady and some of her duties, including Christmas at the White House. I want to play that.
They say I'm complicit. I'm the same like him. I support him. I don't say enough. I don't do enough.
No,
where I am, I'm working like my ass off.
I know.
Christmas stuff that, you know, who gives a about Christmas stuff and decoration, but I need to do it, right?
Yeah, but 100%. You have no choice.
And okay, and then I do it, and I said that I'm working on Christmas, planning for the Christmas, and they said, "Oh, what about the children? That they were separated? Give me a break." Where they were saying anything when Obama did that?
I know.
I cannot go. I was trying to get the kid reunited with the mom. I didn't have a chance. Needs to go through the process and through the law.
But here's my thing. Hear what you just said. But instead of that, if your messaging, you were so loved.
They would not do the story. We put it out. They would not do the story.
I'm telling you.
You would not believe it. They would not do the story because they would not do the story because they are against us because they're liberal media. Yeah, if I go to Fox, they will do the story. I don't want to go to Fox.
It's so interesting. I mean, one, there's to hearing her being hostile toward, you know, decorating the White House for Christmas, you know, I certainly doesn't jive with, you know, the Fox whole idea. I mean, if we're talking about a war on Christmas, it's funny that she would be leading that. But certainly it's one of those traditional roles, and I don't know. It's fascinating to hear her talk like that.
You know, I think Melania has an internal conflict, and just back to the border for a moment.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, as a mother, those maternal instincts in her were set off, and she really did care. But there is no husband to go home to the leader of the free world to discuss how she's feeling about that. So regardless of that, she steps in line and she, just decides that what she's heard and what she's been told is what the rule of law is
Okay,
in our
open them
country.
up
And that's
before the
why I think
put the water
we
bottle
are
by.
watching our democracy turn into a dictatorship at this point. And it's a brainwash.
Hippie, while I was sitting up here talking to you, Hippie, and I had the thing on mute, I was going in. I was roasting and I was toasting. I was toasting Melania. I was dragging her, as the kids say. No, I wasn't dragging her. I forgot what I said though. I had it on mute. I don't know what I said. Jesus Christ. Oh, I think I said I was surprised that Melania said that she didn't want to go to Fox, that she didn't want to go to Fox News. I was very surprised to hear her say that because, I would assume that that's who she would want to at least talk to because they seem to favor the Republican Party. I mean, with that story, I guess not, huh? Well,
type of cultish, people keep using that word so loosely, but that's what I think of. And on the flip side, Melania, the traditions of First Lady and President have gone out the window with this couple. And I feel that if there were, there's so much that can be done. But again, no support, no understanding, and no.
So she can't go to the president and talk to him at the end. They don't sit around and talk at the end of the day or have dinner as a family and discuss things that are going on.
They do, but I think that the policy is going to rule out always, and Donald is in charge of that. Melania, again, as the person with more emotion than Donald, has to, again, like I keep saying, it is about towing the line.
Mm-hmm. That infamous jacket that she wore on her trip to the border, which said, I really don't care, I think. Yeah. I don't remember exactly. But you had a conversation with her about it. Let's play that.
All the time that he is only one, right, for everything.
So
you understand?
I do. So what prompted you to want to buy that jacket?
I'm driving liberals crazy, that's for sure. And that's what, and they deserve it. You understand?
I know.
And everybody's like, oh my God, this is the worst. This is the worst. Come on.
I know. And
they are crazy. Okay.
Oh, and you're supposed to be her friend.
Stephanie Grisham said, quote, "It's a jacket. There was no hidden message." So what?
Now, okay, let me ask y'all something. Is she clout chasing, or does she really care about the American people? Is Stephanie Winston Wolkoff is she clout chasing? Is she snitching? She was recording the First Lady. She can't get in trouble for recording the First Lady. You can tell she was asking leading questions, and she up there Christmas tree in fucky folk news in the children, the mothers, they don't want to go to Mexico. And she just spilling all the tea, and she up here like, yeah, bitch, I'm gonna write a book. I don't trust neither one of you. I don't trust neither one of you. I don't trust neither one of them.
Was the message?
I don't trust neither one of them.
I do discuss it in the book, and I think it's really important. The messaging in her office, in the East Wing and the West Wing, there is no synergy. When I'd spoken to Melania about it, I said to her, didn't you really maybe mean that you weren't, I don't care, do you? The message should have been, I don't care what anyone thinks, conservative, liberal, I don't care who you are. I'm doing the right thing as a mother and as the First Lady of the United States of America and going to the border and visiting the children, whether it's covered or not. So she is in a position where she doesn't have the support either within the office to even have the proper messaging for her.
So that's really interesting. She thought that was the message, like she's going to the border, she cares about it. You know, no other first lady has done this. I mean, it's totally not what the the jacket actually said. I mean, it made it sound like she doesn't care. And
she told y'all, when people tell you who they are, won't you listen? She said, I don't care. Why would you wear a jacket like that? Okay, to get press. But she could have wore something. She could have did something different. I mean, to garner attention. I mean, her even going would have went viral anyway. She could have picked up one of them babies and just started hugging the baby at the border and tried to house them people and stuff like that, and she would have went viral. Like she said, fuck Christmas tree. I mean, what
do you? I mean, the whole thing.
That was my take on the jacket.
I see. Okay.
I'm sorry. So, but again, importantly, you know, Melania should have come out immediately after that and made a statement to the press that her office had misspoken, that Stephanie Grisham, as a spokesperson, should protect the First Lady and try and understand what does she mean. Again, Melania is going to do what Melania wants to do. She does not care what anyone tells her, and she's very, very honest about that.
It's fascinating. The book is Melania and Me, The Rise and Fall of My Friendship with the First Lady. Stephanie Winston Wolkoff, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Anderson.
Lord. Everybody that's seen that go up in that White House, they just come out and they straight snitch. They snitch. Okay, Anderson Cooper says, Melania doesn't shake in her boots ever. She tells Donald exactly how she feels, says Stephanie Winston, a former friend of the First Lady, and ex-East Wing advisor. She believes if she's going to do it, he better do it right, and he better do it with brass knuckles. Well, she said Christmas tree, so, I mean, she got to be tough. Like, what type of friend is it? She is not. I mean, don't they make these people sign NDAs? Like a non-disclosure agreement? Like, you just running your mouth. I know she. Ooh, Melania, you better get her, girl.
Have a legacy.
Yeah, but then, well, it doesn't come directly from what I put on Twitter came from me. They know about the children, and they talked about it.
But I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, right? I mean, you do know what I'm saying. You shouldn't have people across the world. It's in New York. It was always Melania. Like, you know,
they were like, oh, Melania. They like you. Now they don't like you. You don't like her. You a snake. You supposed to be her advisor and her friend. What do you got to do to cut these people's tongues out to get them not to say nothing? Why is you telling on this lady? And don't Melania starting to look like Donald Trump in the face too? You know, like when you get a dog, and the dog start looking like the owner. My daddy said if you feed somebody long enough, they start looking like you too. So I don't know. Some people look like a bucket of KFC chicken. They built like a bucket of chicken. So I guess that's true.
I don't give a
it's not about giving
It's true. Honestly, it's like, because it's, you know.
And some actually are built like a double, a triple stacker. They got rolls at the top, rolls in the middle, rolls at the bottom.
It's honestly, I'm doing the same stuff that I did before. They cannot stand him. They know that I'm with him. They know that I'm.
But they felt badly for you before. Now that you know what I'm saying,
Correct. Okay, all that stuff came out. They feel bad for me. My polls went up. They said, "Oh my God, she's amazing. She's fantastic."
What did you think when you heard that? And I mean, it's so interesting because there was this whole idea of sort of, people felt bad for her, that she's with this guy and she's sort of trapped in this situation. Is that That it doesn't seem like that's the reality at all.
Well, Anderson, I just want to first start by saying that, when I first started taping Melania, I had already left the White House and had already been accused of a criminal crime. And I
mean, they threw you under the bus, basically.
Very, very much so. The Trump administration, as well as the Presidential Inauguration Committee, tandemly created a narrative that I wouldn't follow, and I needed to be the scapegoat. With that being said, I truly, genuinely went into planning the inauguration with honor. It is the United States of America, and helping the First Lady set up her East Wing office. Unfortunately, there were too many roadblocks in the way. So for Melania to create a legacy was going to be challenging regardless, just because of the palace intrigue inside the White House between the East and West Wing, between Ivanka and Melania. And, she didn't have the support at first that she needed at all, quite honestly.
Does she have interest in the role of First Lady and the responsibility it carries? I mean, what is what does she care about?
Well, at first, Melania really did want to make a difference. She felt that if she had the right experts and the right team behind her, she'd be able to facilitate and create a platform that would help so many children with social emotional learning. Unfortunately, when I had to go, and as she told me, the White House legal counsel explained to she and Donald that due to a possible investigation with the PIC, that my term there needed to be severed. And that was the quote from Stephanie Grisham. But I do believe that, she's complicit in everything that's going on. I mean, instead of falling out of line, she towed the line. There are so many incredible things that the First Lady as an honorary position could be doing, should be doing. And it's unfortunate that our country is so limited to such a basic level of, it's great to see the warmth in the children's smiles, but there's so much more that should be happening.
She has this initiative, Be Best, which I think you were involved with, and it's an effort in part to combat cyberbullying. I know you sort of were concerned about the hypocrisy of that, given how much President Trump engages in that exact kind of behavior. She must be aware of that, and just does she not see the strange hypocrisy of it?
You know what, she did right away, Anderson, but she was committed to that, and she was open to discussing that in the overarching belief that the initiative would almost be an umbrella to addictive behavior, and that bullying, social media, opioids were, what lead you not being able to express yourself, not having the toolbox to know how to feel and to how to express your emotions, like our president, would enable the next generation to actually live a much more respectful, empathetic, kind life.
What do you make of, is she the president? You're saying she's complicit. Is she a cheerleader for the president? Is she a supporter of the president?
I wonder what she's going to say. Is she a supporter of her husband? She probably can't stand a lot of the stuff that Donald Trump does. She doesn't, I don't see any type of intimacy when they're together. She looks like he annoys, he has, cheated on her, I don't know. She probably can't wait until this stuff is over with so she can go and get away from the Christmas tree. She not messing with it. She probably ready to be free and take that handsome son and go on by her be naive straight up, because it's just teen too much. She seemed like she liked to eat very good, live a really good lifestyle, hang out with her friends, talk her mess. Oh Lord, I bet you Melania book. Ooh.
Does she like the president?
Actually, she does, very much so. Melania holds a role like no other person in the White House. Anyone. She doesn't shake in her boots ever. And she tells Donald exactly how she feels. She is his biggest cheerleader. And she does believe that if he's going to do it, he better do it right, and he better do it with brass knuckles, and he better do it now. And those are her words.
we had to reach out to the White House for response to all this, and Stephanie Grisham, the chief of staff for the First Lady, responded saying, secretly taping the First Lady and willfully breaking a non-disclosure agreement to publish a salacious book is a clear attempt at relevance. The timing of this continues to be suspect, as does this never-ending exercise in self-pity and narcissism. I want you to be able to respond.
Well, I just think that she just lost the women's vote. I mean,
Ooh, she called her a narcissist, child. Now, we was looking up information on narcissists yesterday. Everybody throwing around the word narcissist. Got to educate yourself on what the definition of narcissism, what narcissism is. I mean, but this lady, you know, Stephanie seems like she clout chasing though. So there was an NDA. So she broke the NDA. So what are going to be the consequences of her doing that? I mean, is there any repercussions for people doing you wrong when you try to do things, you know, right? I mean, I'm sure when she was speaking to her, she believed in her hearts of hearts that the conversation that they were having was supposed to be private, not public. You got to be careful being on the phone with people. So I guess NDAs and being on the phone and all this other stuff, if you have an NDA, I guess it means you just can still disclose. I don't know. But I know one thing, Donald Trump, when it comes down to press, if it's good or if it's bad to him, that's something still that he considers that's in his favor. And she better be his big cheerleader, because she don't want to look like a fool, you know? She don't want to look like a fool, because her husband is a representation of her.
I think that after watching the debate the other evening and how disgraceful and how upsetting it was to see our leader act in such, I don't even have the words to express how blatantly rude it was to act that way. And then to see Melania walk on stage to smile at him and gesture at him and to be okay with that type of behavior. I mean, the most important voice right now should be Melania's voice. She has no voice as his wife. I mean, the one woman that we need more than ever isn't coming to the plate because she has no ability to do so.
So the decision to start recording conversations with her, you were already out of the White House, and this investigation had begun. What was the thinking on recording? So
here's the thing that I think most people don't understand is that I had already hired my legal team while I was still inside the White House when I was asked to present a narrative to the press regarding the Presidential Inauguration Committee financing, which I actually had no access or ability to sign off on. I was just the person who complained about it all the time. So once I was handed 62 questions, and some of them were regarding matters that are under investigation right now by the United States Attorney General for the District of Columbia that I am working with, I became extremely concerned. I expressed those concerns to Melania and Donald, but Melania actually was one person that I went to, and she and I talked about the need for a lawyer. And so the next day I did. I went and hired a lawyer and made sure that everything in my communication with the White House since January was documented. And I had resigned before I was even, as they would like to say, severed. So none of it's true.
Okay, sorry about that. I had to step to the side for a second. Okay, no, we do not want to watch you again, child. Okay. It says Stephanie Winston, author of new book about Melania Trump, said she made recordings of her conversation with the First Lady because she needed evidence to protect herself amid questions about cost of the inauguration. Okay. So, okay, Melania, the White House had accused me of criminal activity, had publicly shamed and fired me, and made me their scapegoat. Stephanie Winston Wolkoff says of her decision, to record conversations with the First Lady at the moment in time that when I pressed record. Okay.
Part of the way that you can back up some of these verbatim quotes and some of these extensive, detailed anecdotes is that you do have some recordings of some of these conversations. Can you comment on that at all?
So, Rachel, I haven't commented on the past. And one of the reasons why I'm going to share this with you this evening is because I've been accused of taping my friend, as the White House said, and how horrible of a human being I am for doing that. And they're right. If she was my friend, it would be horrible. But Melania and the White House had accused me of criminal activity, had publicly shamed and fired me, and made me their scapegoat. At that moment in time, that's when I pressed record. She was no longer my friend, and she was willing to let them take me down. And she told me herself, this is the way it has to be. She was advised by the attorneys at the White House that there was no other choice because there was a possible investigation into the Presidential Inauguration Committee. And that's not how you treat a friend. So I was going to do anything in my power to make sure that I was protected. And at first I really did think maybe she would come to my aid. Maybe she would tell the truth. She turned her back. She did. She folded like a deck of cards, and I was shocked when she did it.
Are you saying, Ms. Wolkoff, that at that point you decided, in order to protect yourself, that you would make recordings of some of your conversations with the First Lady, or that you did?
I did, Rachel. I did.
So what y'all think about that? Melania and the White House had accused me of criminal activity, had publicly shamed and fired me, and made me their scapegoat, Stephanie Winston Wolkoff said, for her decision to record conversations with the First Lady at the moment in time that when I pressed the record. Wow, this White House has a lot of scandal. It's like a reality show on a level, on a scale nobody has ever seen before. I mean, but this is not a reality show. This is Americans' lives. You have people in the military that are fighting for us on the line. Like, this is some serious business. Okay, let me read this right here. It says, hold on. In secretly recording audio, Melania Trump says about reporters asking her about kids separated to the border. Give me F break, she assails at the liberal media, okay, and says she doesn't want to do the story on Fox, and adds, who gives a F about Christmas stuff and decorations? Okay, we already heard about that. Melania Trump says she ain't playing with y'all, okay? I am going to let y'all see my little 5-minute glitch. I am going to set up a new clip. We got to get these watch hours in now, y'all. So go grab you something to drink. Thank God for the people on the replay and the people that are present that are in the bushes. Okay? Please thumbs up this video, like, share, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll be right back. hey. I'm back. This is your girl, Nicole Reloaded, and we locked and loaded with another video. I had to load the video for you. And the question for the second part of the programming this early afternoon, does the narc believe in God? Since all this talk about narcissism, we are going to start educating ourselves over here about narcs. Does the narc believe in God? Does the narc believe in God? That's a deep question. Hippy Dippy still hanging in there. Hippy Dippy, what did you think about that glitch wave 5-minute countdown? What did you think? And I would like people after the replay to please leave a comment and let me know if it's not up to your standards. The Queen can re-edit it. It was a test. Give me something to help me transition. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. $ Nicole Reload on the Cash App if you would love to help assist to keep this train going. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it going, y'all. Unmute, volume up, and play. Oh, well, let me set this up. This is the narc survivor. Narc, the narc survivor that does awesome videos about surviving being in relationship with a narc.
Does the narcissist believe in God? Narcissists do not like authority. They believe that anyone of authority is unworthy of their consideration or respect. They refuse to comply with authority due to their feelings of pride or false sense of superiority. They cannot comply with any kind of authority, which includes God, because it would limit them from engaging in certain actions or behaviors. To continue engaging in these dysfunctional behaviors, they have to reject anyone who is concerned with the principles of right and wrong behavior. They have to reject anyone who is higher in rank, status, or quality, because they would have the power and ability to dictate what is right or what is wrong in that environment. And that would then limit the narcissist from engaging in their dysfunctional behaviors. If they were to comply with certain rules or laws, it would make it very difficult for them to operate as a narcissist. Narcissists do not like rules or laws. They don't like being told what to do. They want to do whatever they want to do, regardless of what they're being told or how it affects anyone else. They cannot give any attention or consideration to the thought or idea of being concerned with the principles of right and wrong behavior, because that would greatly affect their ability to operate as a narcissist and engage in these dysfunctional behaviors.
Hold on really quick.
Hey everyone, it's Kia. Have you heard of The Real Real? It's the #1 place to shop authenticated luxury consignment with easy ways to shop, like their web
When you meet the narcissist, you may expect them to represent what they are standing for. You may expect them to be a symbol or embodiment of what they claim to be about. You may expect to see a tangible or visible form of an idea, quality, or feeling that they are meant to represent. You may expect to see the representation or expression of something in tangible or visible form. But as you will soon realize from their behaviors, none of it is real or genuine. They display fake morals, fake standards or behaviors. You would expect them to represent what they are standing for and display certain qualities like empathy, compassion, or fairness. But they have to put themselves first. They have to be ahead of you. They cannot reciprocate or be fair to you. They cannot follow any principles of right or wrong behavior because that would make them equal to you. They have these inherent qualities of mind and character to display a false sense of superiority. They have to make themselves seem as though they are superior to you. So they cannot be fair to you. They cannot hold the same moral principles as people who really do believe in God. God is the ultimate authority, the final or fundamental fact or principle, the source of all moral authority. The narcissist cannot honor or respect God's teachings or morals because no authority can have power over the narcissist. No authority can have the power to direct or influence their behavior or the course of events. This is why they do not honor or respect any rules or laws. They fail to comply with any rules or formal agreements in relationships. They only display what they expect a moral person would want to see, to make you feel comfortable, to make you feel as though you are on the same wavelength, to make you feel as though you have the same ideas, beliefs, and ways of thinking. But in their minds, those rules and laws are meant for you. They don't want to be dependent or conditional upon any rules or laws, because that would intervene in certain situations or prevent certain processes or activities from continuing. It would prevent or hinder their dysfunctional and immoral behaviors, which would leave them unable to obtain the satisfaction and enjoyment. They cannot delay the pleasure or satisfaction of their desire. They have to fulfill their desires whenever they feel like it. They have no control over their desires, which means that if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, they've likely cheated on you already. They cannot postpone the pleasure or satisfaction of their desire. If they want to desire something, they have to get it. And they are not going to give any attention or consideration to any engagement or obligation that might restrict their freedom of action. They will do whatever it takes to successfully bring about or reach a desired objective or result. They might seem loving or caring in the beginning, But this is only designed to seduce the target. It is designed to attract them and entice them into sexual activity until they reduce you to being their property. You become excessively dependent on them, controlled by them, forced to obey them.
If you see your state, you can register to vote online right now. It takes only 2 minutes.
They imitate or mimic people who are reasonable or sensible. They mimic standards that are usual, typical, or expected. But this is only to portray the image as though they are good, kind, caring people. They want you to feel as though you can be protected by them and not exposed to danger or harm. It is a false character that they have created, so you cannot detect that you do not realize that they are trying to destroy you or lead you away from the correct path or direction. So you do not realize that they are using you, influencing your or directing your behavior and the course of events, controlling or influencing you. All of the manipulation and control that they engage in, the mind control and brainwashing, they are acting in a way as though they believe that they are God. They have this obsessive desire to direct or influence your behavior and the course of events, this obsessive desire to control and influence you. They see themselves as being all-knowing, all-wise, all-seeing. That is God, and only God should have that level of power and control. But this is what they are trying to be. This is what they are trying to accomplish. So they cannot acknowledge or give attention or consideration to something being superior or having authority over them, because everything has to revolve around them. They know that they have a willingness to act dishonestly. They know that they infect and contaminate and cause people to become morally depraved. They know that they are toxic and negative, and they understand the effect that this has on people. And while this might be something that a normal person would find to be undesirable or unwanted, and may even feel embarrassed or shameful of these qualities or behaviors, for the narcissist, it only gives them more supply. It further proves to them that they are powerful because they have the ability to affect you.
Are you confident that your resume reflects your true value? If you're struggling to land interviews, it's time to
The narcissist cannot honor or respect God because they see positive qualities like empathy, compassion, and fairness as weakness. They believe that having those qualities makes them weak. They believe that doing good makes them less powerful, less in control. They believe that rules and laws are for weak people. They don't really believe that they are victims, but they will play the victim role. It is used as a strategy to secure you as a source of supply. And most of their supply comes from the power to lead you away from the correct path or direction, to make you adopt their ideas and beliefs, their way of thinking. They are going to do whatever it takes to get what they want, even if it means playing the victim role or using the power of persuasion. They will do whatever it takes to get what they want. They will direct your attention, attach you to their habitual behavior, force you to submit to their desires. And once they have developed the ability to control you and get people to do what they want, they don't see any purpose in their lives for God. There's no requirement or consideration for God in their lives. They believe in their own false sense of certainty, their own false sense of moral superiority. So they don't believe that they need to be accountable to anyone or anything. They don't believe that they should be required or expected to justify their actions or decisions. They don't believe that they should have to be responsible. When things start going wrong for them in their lives, they never consider that it might be the result or effect of their actions. They don't consider that they are being punished by an unseen power or force, because they don't believe in anything. They don't believe that anyone has the power to punish them.
Hey, stop clicking around because I need to show you this right now. Now, there's a lot going on right now, and some people are concerned that
The narcissist places such special importance, value, and prominence on their own ability to do something or act in a particular way, their own ability to direct or influence the behaviors of others or the course of events, their own trust, faith, and confidence in themselves, to the point where it would be harmful or damaging to their way of thinking and operating. If they were to believe in God, it would make them equal to you. It would make them normal. And they want to be anything but normal. They want to go against social norms. They want to be opposed to anything good or right. If they really believed in God and believed that they are required to or expected to justify their actions or decisions, they wouldn't be narcissists. They would have to attempt to or explain or justify their behavior or attitude with logical reasons for their decisions and the results or effects of them. This is why they develop this false sense of certainty of themselves, as though what they are doing is correct, what they are doing is right, and they are morally superior. They have to justify it. They have to tell themselves that it is right, it is reasonable. When you are around them, they are likely to cause harm to you. They are likely to cause problems because they do not honor or respect anything. They are negative and unhelpful, and they will make full use of and derive benefit from you in a way that might be considered unfair or underhanded. They are not concerned about your health or happiness. They don't care about what happens to you. And they will discard you once you are no longer of any use to them. They don't even see you as a human being. They don't see you as being a real person. In their minds, you are an extension of them, or an object that exists to serve them and meet their needs. They don't care about you. They don't care about how their behavior affects you. They are self-absorbed and lack empathy. All they care about is what they want, and they will do whatever it takes to get it.
Today I want to share with you my review and why I absolutely love the Our Place All.
They know that there is something wrong with them. They know that their negative traits and dysfunctional behaviors do pose a problem to people. That's why they hide it. That's why they don't show you who they really are, and they create these false characters. Because they know that something is wrong with them, and they know that they are the problem. They know the effects that they have on people. They know the damage that they cause just by being around people. They are fully aware of this. And while a normal person would view this as something undesirable or unwanted, the narcissist sees it as though it makes them powerful, as though they have the ability to direct or influence your behavior and the course of events. They willingly and enthusiastically accept their negative traits and dysfunctional behaviors in a way that shows intense and eager enjoyment, interest, and approval. It puts them in a state of physical ease and freedom from pain or constraint, and alleviates their feelings of grief or distress. Because it tells them that they are powerful, significant, important, special, even though it characterizes them by the absence rather than the presence of distinguishing features, as it usually consists of them expressing or implying denial, disagreement, or refusal. They still see it as though it means they have power over other people. They see it as though they have the capacity or ability to do something or act in a particular way, the ability to determine the course of events or cause something to occur in a particular way. There is no mention or reference to God. And this is why there is no awareness of or responding to their surroundings. They are not really alive. They have no interest or meaning. They have no awareness or interest in anything significant or meaningful. They are not responsive or receptive. They are not willing to accept new suggestions or ideas. They are basically dead, living off other people who are alive, people who do have interest and meaning. People who do have awareness and interest in things that are significant and meaningful. People who are responsive and receptive and willing to accept new suggestions and ideas. And they use these people who are full of life, love, joy, and positivity to sustain them, to give them life. This is why narcissists are often referred to as emotional vampires. They are dead inside, lifeless, and they hunt down and chase people who are full of life, people who are full of energy, draining them and leaving them feeling emotionally exhausted. They provoke emotional reactions within you and feed off your emotions as well as your resources. They are dead, and they have to suck the optimism and serenity right out of you to survive, to exist among the living. And for them to survive, they cannot believe in a God. They cannot believe in anything that they might have to be held accountable to, where they might be required or expected to justify their actions or decisions. If they really believed in a God, they wouldn't be narcissists. Thank you for watching. I hope this video resonated with you. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Click the bell icon to receive notifications.
Hey, what's up? We just got done listening to the Narc Survivor. Please subscribe to his channel. He has a lot of education on how to survive dealing with a narc and how you can rebuild your life, your self-esteem, your energy. Educate yourself. Fill yourself with knowledge and wisdom and understanding. Please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And remember, through God, all things are possible to those who believe, as long as you're willing to receive what God has for you. Be a blessing and not a curse. We can do this together, y'all. We can make a difference. I'm going to hit up the countdown, go through these few comments, and I'll see y'all soon.
Hey, Queen. Girl, you have done it again, constantly raising the bar for us all and doing it flawlessly. I'd say I'm surprised, but I know who you are. I've seen it up close and personal. Girl, you make me so proud, and I love you.
Bitch, why you mad? Cause my pussy pops severely and yours don't? Try Jesus, not me, cause I throw hands. Why y'all put that stuff in You better took you to night water. Oh. They reading. Who they reading? Oh. I